Hello everyone, welcome to round 4 of F1 2016 career mode of season 2. I am Love Spuds. Today, sunny Russia. Race day is sunny. Not so much in qualifying. Qualifying was a bit mixed, but I'll talk you through that when we get to our qualifying lap. So here we are, Sochi, a circuit that's designed around the facilities of the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. 18 corners, 2 DRS zones, a length of 5.85 kilometers. You'll get some good speed coming out the final corner down the main straight that's sort of bent, and some G's will try and pull your head off as you go around the long left-hander of turn 3. So as you can see, there's a little bit of moisture around, and we're on the dry tyres, but basically it's starting to rain and track should be dry-ish at the moment as we go around turn 2. Not too bad there, but you'll be able to maybe hear, but you can see I cannot go full throttle around this corner. I'm losing so much grip as we go around these bends. Now there's something really strange happened here. The AI were extremely quick even though we had no grip, but the weird thing is Button done a similar lap time. So I don't really know what was going on here. I mean, it just seemed that they could put in faster laps as Q3 went on, or Q2, whichever one this is. I think it's Q2 actually, if I remember rightly. Strange thing is, people were getting faster as the track was getting wetter, and I don't quite know how that works somehow. Especially when the DRS is disabled later on this lap. But as you come up the last DRS zone here, surely I should have been faster than a lot of people. As you can see, I'm in purples, yes, but let's not forget no one's really set a time yet apart from myself who's on this lap right now. But I had no grip whatsoever, so unfortunately we do go out in Q2. As you see, there's a bit of a lock-up as we went around that bend, and that's the worst bend to lose time on, as that is an off-camber corner, and you can lose, you know, a couple of seconds there, especially on the dry track. So coming around the final bend, it's a 1 minute 51. As you see, so much grip is not on my tyres. If you want to say it, but here we are back at the grid. You can see number 33 and 44. Max Verstappen on pole with a 140.6. And in Q3, I mean, that should have been fine. I assume that was dry, but obviously I was not part of it. We'll have a look at the grid in just a second now. See where we are, a team radio of Love Spuds. I don't really bother let you listen to that because it's the same stuff from last season. So let's have a look at the starting grid. So on pole, Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton lines up second, just under a tenth behind. Massa, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Vettel, Hulkenberg, Button. So Button only managed 8th out of that in the end. Bottas, Magnussen, myself, Spuds in 11th. Rosberg, Kvyat, Sainz, Perez, Palmer in 16th. Rio Haryanto, Wehrlein, Grosjean, Gutierrez, Nasser and Ericsson, sort of lining up 2 by 2 as we get towards the end of the grid, but the top 10 are a bit mixed. So there's no team that stood out today. So here we go, it's the start. 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. Verstappen gets a good start, Hamilton does as well. Can't quite tell what's going to happen in the first corner here. That's a huge crash, and there's a crash further back as well. So let's see who that is on the replay here. So who are we on board with? This must be Kvyat. Let's have a look. Who's that? Magnussen got a slow start, which Rosberg tried to take advantage of, but unfortunately that made Magnussen hit Kvyat, which made those events spiral. Let's have a look further back as well. Oh, Nasser. Oh, that's quite a bad accident. That sends both Saubers out and Gutierrez of the Haas. And while that's going on, Spuds is going around the outside of turn 3 and up the inside of turn 4 to take Rosberg, who tried to get away a bit cleaner than actually happened. If that makes sense at all, then your comprehension skills are far better than mine. So, on board with Spuds now, as we've had four cars immediately eliminated from the race. 18 cars left. We're in 10th position. Button is 9th. Just having a look at the inside, I don't think that's going to be worth it. At the same time, I don't really want to take Button out on a corner. Obviously, as McLaren doesn't seem to be doing very well today in terms of speed compared to the other cars. I don't quite know what's happened, but Hamilton is in the lead. He has managed to take Verstappen at some point on the first lap. So it's all go really. We didn't even get a safety car, which is the strangest thing. You can see all the bits strewn across the track there. Button goes for a move. You know, he's just having a look. He doesn't actually pull the move off, and I have a look as well. Don't really think there's enough room for me without causing any bother. So just lap 2, 27 laps of racing. Last time out, Daniel Ricciardo won. Kimi Raikkonen was second, Love Spuds was third. Oh, a bit of a tap behind Button. Hulkenberg locked up there and threw everything under the bus, pretty much. That's the wrong phrase to use, I know. But this is what happens when I try and commentate off the fly and not remember what happens in the video, as is the way. Obviously I remembered the crash at the start. That wasn't too much of a surprise, but the rest of the video will come back to me once we start watching here. So, looking to make a move on Hulkenberg there. So Button goes up the outside, and I'm making so much speed, I'm going to try it and go around the outside and onto the inside of this corner. 3 abreast as we go in. Oh, and unfortunately I get tagged by Button as Button turns in, but Button didn't really have anywhere to go, neither did Hulkenberg. Well, Hulkenberg could have let the steering out a bit, but he didn't really take account for me being up the inside there, so unfortunately that's a problem. So there's a problem with Verstappen here, and the problem is a flat left rear tyre. So that's his race ruined for the day. After we've done so well in qualifying, putting it on pole position, you can see he's limping back to the pits now. Just managed to get a puncture on the main straight there, and just as he gets around the corner, the Toro Rosso manages to hit him in the back. But I have to blame Max for that one, because he did turn back onto the racing line. Either that, he was trying to cross out of the racing line just at the wrong time. But that's the AI for you, unfortunately. Does make silly mistakes. And there's me getting it a little bit wrong as we go into the final bend here. Down in 11th now, which obviously thanks to that spin. But luckily I didn't lose too many places. I have lost a lot of ground though on the leaders, so it doesn't look like we're getting on the podium today. So we're going to make a lunge for Hulkenberg, a very, very late lunge. And we're going to lock up slightly and go a little bit wide there, but I think that was fair enough. So Hulkenberg's just making sure he'd pick up the pieces if I mess up any of my braking here, which I don't. And Spuds is up to 10th position, back in the points. Button has moved up a place or two because he got Perez and a Ferrari up front. Can't quite tell who that is. Not quite sure where Button is, but he must be further up the field. He should be able to make up some positions. Qualifying pace wasn't so good, but his race pace is pretty decent, as is mine. So move up the inside of Perez there. Now we're going to try and hunt after Raikkonen. See, it's early days in the championship, but you know, it does look like we're going to have a little bit of a fight, judging by the speed of ourselves compared to Button and some of the others as well. Spuds is actually just only 5 points ahead of Ricciardo in the championship, so he could lose that lead today, depending on where Ricciardo finishes. And Button is only 7 points behind, so as I say, early days, a lot could happen in the next few races. But that's what we're here for, isn't it? To see who wins overall. So Raikkonen's going really slow for some reason. Maybe his tyres have gone off. Not quite sure, or he's running a lower fuel mixture. It's kind of hard to tell, but he is running slowly for some reason, and that leaves Rosberg up ahead, who seemed to be the main cause of the first lap incident there between the Renault, the Haas. No, the Toro Rosso, the Renault and the Toro Rosso, and then the Saubers and the Haas were a separate incident behind. So quite an interesting couple of first laps there. Button sets the fastest lap. That's because he's changed onto his new tyres now, the softs, which I'm just about to go on there. The 2.7 second pit stop is not too shabby at all, and as you can see, I've just dropped a little bit. I think I'm one position, if that, but I've still remained ahead of Raikkonen, so I don't actually think we changed positions really, because Rosberg should be somewhere up front. But this is Massa on Vettel a bit later on, so he's going to come up round the outside and up the inside, try and do what I did, but a bit more successfully. A little tap there as he goes past on Vettel. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. As you can see, we're a bit further on, 23 laps in, because not a lot happened in this race, if I'm honest. I was sort of in a bit of no man's land until Rosberg comes up, and he comes round the outside on his super softs, and I'm on my softs, so he's got a lot more grip than me and can actually pull that move off, so it's a bit faster. I was expecting him to get past, so it's not too much of a surprise, but I do try and come back at him, but just cannot keep up, unfortunately, and go slightly wide under the bridge there. It's unfortunate, did lose a place, but I'm going to try and get back at him, going back on board with my spuds now. With myself, might as well say that, either one. The flip-flopping between first and third person descriptions seems to be a theme for this season. But you got Perez behind, and he's quite a distance behind, so I shouldn't need to worry about him too much. We are trying to carry these tyres right through to the end, and then see what's going on as well. This should be Rosberg, as he caught up to Button. But Button got past, he majorly locks up and clatters into the barriers. You can just see it again on board. Locked the right, front, left. Right. Oh my god. Just ignore what I said there. He just locked up and he went straight into the barriers. This is Button again. This time on Bottas. I think he's trying to get up to the podium there. I think he's running in second and third, Bottas and Button there. So Button has ended up making up a lot of ground compared to myself. I could have made up the ground if I didn't have that spin earlier. Then we might have been in a better position, maybe fourth or something. Might have been the best we can hope for. But on the final lap now, admittedly again nothing much happens, which is why we're already on lap 27, and it's a shorter video today, so not too much of your time is going to be taken up. Depends how much of the video you watch, of course. But as we're on the final lap, let's just see what everyone else is up to. Button's currently in second. This is Bottas taking second from Button, and Button has been relegated down to third. Let's go around to the few final bends. I'm just going to join Hamilton in a moment. He should be crossing the line any minute now. Oh, he's coming around to the final bends. Just going to see on board as Lewis Hamilton comes through to win the Russian Grand Prix. That makes him the fourth different winner of the season. No one's won twice yet, and that's Bottas and Button across the line for second and third. I'm just going to go back on board with Spuds, see how he finishes, and he ends up coming home in 8th, providing nothing goes wrong in the final couple of corners, which I can tell you now it doesn't. No real surprise, because Perez is too far behind to do anything anyway, and I'm just taking it easy, guiding the car home. Got a few points here, but obviously not the best day at the office, though we did make up a few positions. So anyway, we finished 8th, Button finished on the podium, and that should mean some movers and shakers in the top 3 of the World Championship. So Toto Wolff there, very happy. Mercedes' first win of the season, and reigning World Champions first win as well, so can't complain about that. So First 4 races, you got Button winning the first one, Spuds in Bahrain, Ricciardo in China, and Lewis Hamilton in Sochi, Russia. So you see, that's the results there. Don't know how quickly I scroll through these, but that was pretty quick to start with. Didn't get to see much, but you can always pause the video if you are that way inclined. And let's have a look at the drivers' standings. So Jenson Button takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship, Ricciardo second, Spuds third. Only a 4-point gap between the top 3 there. Looks like it's going to be quite the championship going forward. As I say though, still a long way to go, and you can see how many people have moved up and down thanks to that race. Obviously only being the 4th round, it's not so much of a thing. So McLaren right at the top there, 24 points ahead of Mercedes, who are doing quite well. They've moved up 2 places and have occupied that 2nd spot. So let's see the podium celebration. And that's Hamilton taking the win there, Bottas 2nd and Jenson Button 3rd. Always seems to be a McLaren on the podium so far, so it just proves how good their package is this year. And no, I'm not talking of innuendos. Anyway, join me next time in Spain for round 5. I'll see you then.